When I close my eyes while pranayam or mantra jap, the printed scripts appear in front of eyes. The script seems Devanagari Lipi. Please guide, what does it mean? It's okay to have this kind of script coming in front of your mind screen, and there is no reason that you should feel odd that why it is coming. The best thing can be that when that written Devanagari script, mantra, or that particular word comes in front of your eyes, it's okay. Rather, you focus onto that alphabet which is right there in front of you. And then keep on doing your mantra the way you wish to do it, and meaning the rhythm or the space in between one mantra and the second mantra, that is the choice which one can make. For some, the mind can be little jittery, so they cannot do it in a more elongated pauses. But if your mind is well settled, and if your mind is calm and is enjoying and is in that moment when you are doing the mantra, and say, if I say Om, there is a one way of dharana, and that is where you actually bring that written Om in at the screen of your forehead, and you visualize that Om, Namah, so Namaha, Hala, and Shivaya. So you see the Sha, E and Va, A, and Ya, Shivaya. So actually in one of the stages of doing the mantra jap, this is the advised method sometimes for certain people, that they visualize that mantra first while they are doing the chanting, and then they allow the synchronicity of mantra, the visualization, and I'll add another magic portion into this equation, and that is of your breath. If you can bring a synchronization in between your breath, your mantra in mind, and also the visualization in the forehead, this becomes a very pregnant mantra jap. What I mean is that the breath is now holding the mantra into it, and the mind is holding the breath and mantra into it. And now this mind is now no more a fickle, shallow mind. Now it is a very pregnated mind. Meaning, mantra is infused in the breath, and mantra and breath are with the mind. So, this is a very good way to do it. No need to be doubtful about what it is and why it is. Question is from Praveen Rawat from Roorkee, Uttarakhand. Is Onkar Gunjan and Brahmari Pranayam with Om chanting the same or it's different? Please guide. Now it depends that it is actually very different. Either you are doing Omkar, that there you are reciting the word Om fully, but in a Brahmari you are just creating the sound of a Brahmar. Brahmar in English would be the bumblebee. Now maybe go to a garden in springtime and then look for those bumblebees and listen to their sounds. So it's a very throaty bumblebee sound which you are creating in your throat while narrowing down your vocal cords, and it's very deep and very reverberating sound. Now there are people, there have been some yogis who say that this Brahmar sound should begin from the low, go to the high pitch. And then again, you take the breath in, you begin from the low, and you take it to the high pitch. And so the sound has to be very vividly similar of the bumblebee, the bhamara. And in the Omkar Gunjan, there is no need to have this very deep throated voice. It can be a very simple one, and where we are just using the our upper part of just the mouth alone. We are not using very much the deep sounds where your vocal cords, your voice box, and your diaphragm and everything gets involved, because you have to create, and it should create a very strong vibration sensation even in your chest, and if it is not happening, then it's not Brahmari. So I think so, Praveen, it would be good that maybe you come here to ashram, because it is something which I need to see you in person, and then you have to listen to that sound properly, and then simulate that same sound again. There are many things which cannot be passed on a very social platform. There are certain things for which one needs to be with the guru to learn and to practice. Question is coming from Arzu Sharma. There are many methods of sitting, like Urja, Tratak, Nadi, and breath count. I am totally new to this. I want to know, as a beginner, where should I start? I wake up and do 30 minutes of yoga. Then I sit in a silent room, concentrate on my breath. I inhale till the count of 3 and exhale to count of 6. Please guide me what to do. I wish to feel the inner peace and beauty. Well, all these methods which you have mentioned, I have taught these methods to sadhak, to the practitioners who wish to move onto the path. Now, it depends upon what's the real need of that sadhak. Again, dear Arzu, you'll have to make an Arzu to meet me in person. You have to come here, or you meet some of my swamis over here who can have one-on-one, and seeing the condition of your mind, seeing the condition of your health, they can advise you from where to begin. But for now, I think so, until you do this, you can do the Nadi Shodhan and you can do the Tratak. For Tratak, my advice is that one, the room in which you are doing should be totally dark. There should be only the candlelight. Nothing else, should be visible. 2, the candlelight flame should be kept at eye level. Don't keep it too low, don't keep it too high. Place the candle that its flame is exactly at your eye level. 3, always use the guided track which I have made, as the music will help to create a kind of a sound curtain around your mind, so that the mind doesn't do the monkey dance and you can focus properly and do the sadhana properly. So do Nadi Shodhan. Again, you can take help of the track which I have made it for your assistance, and anybody who wishes to start, who is a beginner, who is a naive, who is an amateur, for them I have made things easier, that you learn it right from the track and you use the track while sitting. Don't sit without that track playing along. Like a child requires some kind of a prop, a stroller, in which the child can be seated, and once in a while the child walks, gets tired, sits back in the stroller again. The walker would be the right word. So the child walker. So these instruction meditational music tracks are like those child walkers. So use those tracks, and that will help you, and I'll be instructing. And if you have enough love, then you might feel that I'm right there. And if this happens, you will have a very, very great and good experience, because end of the day, it's all the mind game. It's a mind game. Dattatreya Parankar from Akola, Maharashtra has a question. I am a meditator. I request you to please guide me in my following problem. When I try to go in meditation, naturally breathing pattern changes from normal to slow, this causes left chest pain. Please see an Ayurveda Acharya if any kind of pain is occurring when you are doing the slow breathing or the slow breathing is happening, because pranayam cannot induce any pain. On the contrary, we have experimented here in ashram that if somebody is having a anxiety or hyperventilated breathing because of their anxiety, they were made to do the deep, deep breathing and their anxiety went away. Now, if the pain is physical, then the doctor should fix it up. I'll suggest find a good Ayurveda Acharya who can make a diagnosis after seeing your pulse, the nadi, and maybe take some medication if required. And I'm not saying that you have some very serious issue, but what I'm saying is that sometimes it can be your wrong diet, it can be there was gas in your stomach, it can be the flatulence, it can be an acid reflux. So there are many reasons if somebody is finding a pain in the chest. Not necessarily it's something to do with the heart every time. It can be just, as in Ayurveda we say, Vayu Vikruti, when happens in between Pran and Apan, when these two get Vikrat, then you can have very severe pain in chest or head or have any other, in the upper region. So please see a Vaidya. Whatever you are feeling has nothing to do with your slow breathing. And also Dattatreya, meditation is not something what you do, what you have written is, it's a little joke for me that I'm trying to do meditation. It's like somebody saying, I am trying to become Mahakavi Kalidas and I'm trying to become William Shakespeare. You don't become them by just trying. If you have it, you will be. If you don't, then you cannot. Similarly, in meditation, it's not something what you can learn. I've always said what I teach is the preparation. If you do the preparation properly, then the chances are that your mind will move into that state where there is quietness, where there is tranquility, where there is clarity, and where there is beautiful peace. So nobody in this world, even if they charge a big fees, cannot teach you meditation. All the pranayams or dharana or mudra or mantras are basically the preparations which can help your mind to move into that state where meditation happens. The flower blooms on its own. You cannot make a bud bloom by order or by advice or by praying to it. The bloom will happen when the bud has gone through the whole process of coming to that point where the bud blooms into a beautiful flower. So meditation is a blooming flower of your consciousness. Advaita philosophy is based on one Brahm. This question is coming from dear Sitaramulu. He's a wonderful old man. Okay, your question. Advaita philosophy is based on the one Brahm. If Jivatma is the soul of the astral world, and Ishvara is the soul of the causal world, then as in the waking world human bodies interact, Jivatmas must also be interacting and Ishvaras must also be interacting amongst themselves. Kindly highlight. Dear Sitaramulu, there is a lot of confusion in your mind. And I would suggest that, number one, there are these videos where I have explained these very intricate and very beautiful but very complex Advaita philosophy of Shankar. Two Prakarna Grantha of Shankar. One is the Vedanta Sar, second is Atmabodh.